It's called Ending, with a question mark after it, Ending, and it's about the experience I had of a depressive episode, severe depressive episode, following my retirement. So it's about an experience of what I hate using this term, a mental health issue, sorry about that, in late life, okay? So, right. The 7th anniversary of my husband Ian's death in June 1995 coincided with the ending of my costly 7 years of psychoanalysis and what I considered to be a significant dream. This was my dream. I am watching a severed pine tree, the size of a giant redwood, being loaded onto a juggernaut lorry transporter, and I understand that it's on its way to be processed. I feel grief over the brutal ending of this magnificent tree, and that's all I remembered of my dream. But now, with hindsight, 17 years later, I recognise that this dream of living grief brutally cut off heralded in a new phase of both my actual life and the depth of my life experiences up to that time. I was then 65, a widow without family, and a psychoanalytic counsellor in private practice. All in all, I considered that, considering my troubled infancy and childhood and subsequent general life circumstances, I thought I'd done pretty well, really and truly. Earlier in life, I'd managed to complete 2 nurse trainings in the 50s, one at the Maudsley Hospital in psychiatry and the other at Westminster Hospital in general. And I'd worked 25 years in nursing and nursed a sick husband as well. I'd also then followed that with 30 years in working as a group therapist and therapist. I believed I knew myself pretty well, having been through the mill of several therapies as a client, and had come to accept that I clearly had been prone to depression since childhood. Within the last few years, I'd endured 3 major bereavements in rapid succession, and so I knew that I would seriously miss my 5 times weekly analytic sessions. Therefore, I'd planned very carefully for what I consider to be a healthful, varied regime to help myself manage the inevitable grief reactions over the loss of my precious work and life's weekly structure. However, I was to discover that I hadn't anticipated just how greatly I would react, because within a few months I began to experience dreams of a very troubling kind, which warned of burstings and explosions, and of finding myself repeatedly lost and alone. Along with these dreams came a number of persisting waking dreamlike images, which seemed to signal a need to turn inwards, and an urge towards some form of integration. That word came up, and yet I didn't know what it was all about. Increasingly, I felt physically exhausted, very nauseous, as if full up, yet empty at the same time. In addition, I began to dread the prospect of taking on any new clients, or indeed anything. Having sought medical and psychiatric opinions over all of this and drawn a blank, I began to explore meditation and decided to begin the slow process of gradually closing my practice with a view to retirement at 70. This I accomplished Easter 2000. Within 2 years, I was unable to get out of my bed. Such was the power of an immobilizing clinical depression. This total breakdown into suicidal despair this time has proved the beginning of an ongoing process of emergence. It's an ever-changing experience of amazing challenge and wonder on good days, and of anxiety and bewilderment on others. My established regular meditation practice now of 10 years seems to enable me to persist, and I'm very, very enthusiastic about the practice of mindfulness. 12 years later, hopefully a little wiser at 82 as I am now, and a great deal richer for some truly hellish experiences of life in the depths, here I am at last. Well, my message to anyone who cares and dares to listen to me isn't that original. My motto is better late than never, and T.S. Eliot said it a great deal better in his 4 quartets. The line was his, "In my beginning is my end, but in my end is my beginning." Thank you.